Yeah, you're pulling it up, Yankee. Hey, let's go. Let's
Yes,
go
I
through
am.
everybody's pronouns, just to let everybody know.
Yeah, my pronouns, they're Yank and Dix. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty great. It's pretty based. It's the only thing that matters in life, being based and red pilled. That's all that matters.
Okay, so you're pulling it up right now.
I have no internet. This is stupid. I don't know why it's doing this.
Nice.
Hold on. I have to
That's pretty
connect. I have
cool
to
considering
connect to
you're
the
making a call
university
over the
website.
internet.
It is.
How,
No, well, I'm
how
on another
Wait, what do
pulling
you
up on
say,
my
Og?
laptop.
I said, how's that working out if you have internet but to make the call but can't access
I know.
actual document?
It's called being loaded and having two platforms. You got a laptop and another recording device.
Ah, I see. Yes, this makes sense.
Why am I getting security shit? That's it. We're going to break.
Yeah, the real browser.
I'm using a different browser. It's just stupid. I'm not Google.
The browser of the gods is Brave. 100%.
Oh, now it's
So,
telling me
okay.
my connection is not
Okay,
private.
yo,
Why are you
Yank.
doing this to me?
Yankee
It's not
Doodle.
letting me access.
Yeah.
Proceed. Oh, there we go. Proceed.
I'm just gonna start
Unsafe.
calling you Doodle.
I'm gonna call you Doodle.
Dude.
You are now Doodle. Doodle man.
Dude for short.
So, dude, what do you know about Gnosticism going in? Like,
I don't really know that much. I know it's heretical. That's about it. By a Catholic Church considers it heresy. They're pretty wacky. But that's about it. I don't really know that much about it. So this is gonna be
Og is the expert. He knows.
I am not an expert. All right.
Out of us, he is the expert, though.
I read a couple articles by a depressed, non-binary Latino dude.
So you're an expert.
And then the Wikipedia articles. And maybe like a book, or like I skimmed like a book or two or something. But that's about the extent of my knowledge.
All right, so I'm on the website. So do I like have to find a PDF of it somewhere?
No.
Like,
You scroll down. You just keep on scrolling down. So do you see like the YouTube video and stuff? So you see it. What does it say on the website? Is it just gnosis.org or is it?
It's gnosis.org, and it's Gnostic Scriptures and Fragments, archive note, and then it has excerpts from chapter 4, chapter 5, 8, and 9.
Yeah, that's all we have because I think the rest is destroyed or unavailable.
This is going to be interesting.
So yeah, I think before we go into the actual reading of it, do you want to talk about the media that it's in? Oh, because it's in everything. It's pervasive.
Oh yeah, dude.
Or just a little bit of background on what even we're talking about too, because I feel like we.
Okay, I don't actually know the specific document you've picked out for us today. It's just it's the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this is like going to be basically one of the Gnostic Christian bonus Gospels that never got accepted into the canon, in like early church history. I guess we should give like an explanation about like what the Gnostics are generally, I guess.
Yeah, and I also realized Marvel also literally has the Demiurge in it.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Oh yeah, but first we gotta explain what the Demiurge is and stuff. We gotta.
Oh, here we go. It's the rabbit hole.
Hold on. Okay. So basic outline, right? The Gnostics were essentially a sect of very radical, very heterodox Christians that emerged probably around like 200s, 300s AD, and took a lot of influence from what is it, Zoroastrianism and Buddhism from the East.
Platoism, dude.
Yes, Neoplatonism as well. Although a lot of Neoplatonics didn't like that.
Even just the dialogues. Like for example, I was reading Cratylus today. And when they go into like the etymology of like the name for body, they call it the tomb of the soul. Because it's it's trapping you inside. That's a big element of it.
Yeah, and like this is assuming like you guys know basically what Gnosticism is, like the hatred of the body. They presume that like the Old Testament God is actually a false like demon god type dude who created the material world and is supremely evil. and that everything that is good is spiritual and like not material. So they want to like they basically want to die and leave. They won't commit suicide for some reason. And yeah, obviously they didn't get along with the church authorities. They had everybody from Plotinus to I think Tertullian, maybe, right, like contra Gnosticism, and then eventually they died out after getting crusaded in France. I think around like 1000 AD. I don't remember.
There was a big purge. There was a big purge in France around that time. A lot of
if you want to
Cathars got beat up.
If you want to look more into it, look up the Albigensian crusade. But yeah,
a lot of it also influences Jung as well.
Oh yeah, dude, like the reason why we're talking about this is because like recently we've come into contact with like a lot of pieces of media that we just naively enjoyed before, and realized that like the ideas that sprang out of this Gnostic cult basically still have a huge amount of popularity and influence today, but like esoterically, to the point where people don't even know where like they're pulling these ideas from. So we're gonna go deep into it.
It's the job of the Zumermensch to rise above the Gnostic heresy.
Of course, yes.
It is. When we're born in the worst time in history, what else is there but to rise up?
Truly.
Mm-hmm. And anything from fucking. Are we allowed to swear on this show? I forget.
Zumermensch will decide later.
All right, sure.
I think the platform will decide later.
I'll leave the bleeping out to you, Docs. But yeah, everything from Dark Souls, Homestuck, of course, every cape shit, multiverse ever, to such like towering literary figures as William Blake, actually. Very Gnostic in his ideas.
Which we'll be talking about in a separate episode. We'll be talking about.
Oh yeah, we'll dedicate an entire episode to
say.
This will be the Logo Daedalus takedown episode.
Yeah, we're gonna bring him on. We're gonna invite him on.
He's gonna accept. Actually,
have a 3-way.
I mean, if he even cares,
annihilation of him.
It'd be pretty cool. I don't know, but yeah, it'd be cool. It'd be cool to have him on. We should talk about that.
Yeah,
I'm sure you'd love to talk about Blake.
I think it's weird. I've seen like these random channels. They have like 100 subs or something, and they get like a professor from a university on. It's like insane.
Yeah, because like nobody is like when you invite a professor, it's like they have nothing else going on in their lives. Yeah, besides like teach the class. Like when they get invited to do anything, they're like, "Oh heck yeah, dude!"
I can speak from experience. Like one of the professors in the history department here, actually the head, like she wrote a book, and literally she just went to a random like bookshop to give a talk along with some other professor from the University of Michigan about their books, because they were both correspondents. They both went to the same doctoral program at Princeton together, and literally they just talked for like a solid hour about their books. Like that's what they do. Like
nice.
Just get them to talk about what they
can edit out of the eating. Don't worry about it.
Wait, all they want to do is talk about themselves. It's just basic human instinct. Just talk about yourself.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, if we ever do a Blake episode, I'd love to have Logo on, try and defend his conception of Blake.
100%.
Probably thrash us all in the process and make us look really bad too. But sacrifices must be made.
Yeah, I think another important thing is it's not only just like the concepts, like the demiurge, for example, is a concept of it, or like hatred of the body and a bunch of other stuff, but like the spirit of it is like super prevalent in the modern age, where it's like any kind of limit is basically evil.
Definitely.
Because I remember what you were saying. You're like, it's like the perfect story for people that want to get rid of any kind of like hierarchy or like order.
Yeah, or perceived injustice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're limiting my like free will. It's like it pretty much lays the groundwork for this like idea of like freedom, the concept of freedom that we know now, where it's like, oh, you can basically have the ability because you exist, and therefore any limit is a denial of your existence and your right to do whatever.
Can definitely lends itself to becoming incredibly voluntaristic. Although I don't actually know if that's what like the original dude said, which is I guess why we're forcing Yankee to go through the Mary
Yeah, I feel
Magdalene.
like Alex. This me doing like an Alex from Clockwork Orange style torture session where you're just gonna pry open my eyes and make me watch some horrific incident.
All right. Speaking of,
Oh yeah, I think we got to go. Like,
let's get it started.
if people don't know who Mary Magdalene is, though, that's kind of
All right.
important.
I may just read the archive notes to start off,
I don't know if you need to read them out loud,
just so we can get a background.
but basically, Mary Magdalene's like a biblical figure who's like she's like acquaintances with Jesus and other people, basically. I don't know if there's much written about her actually.
Was she a prostitute?
I don't know that. I just know she has like a few moments where
She's the one who washes Jesus. Jesus washes her feet.
maybe probably should have looked this up first.
I'm pretty
You want me
sure.
to do a Google search? That's why I'm here.
And she was also one
I'm
of
the
the
Jamie of
mourners.
this podcast. Hey Jamie, look this up. He got you.
Yeah, we're reading Wikipedia's off for money, basically. That's the point. Yeah, I know she was at the crucifixion and stuff.
One of the followers. She was one of like the women that went with him.
She also donated to the cause too. She was a patron. She was born of wealth.
Oh shoot, Magdalene isn't like a proper last name. It's just an epithet.
Like she's different from like the Mother Mary figure as well.
She's originally from Mary of Magdala.
Yeah.
Town. All right, so am I going to start this thing? Let's see. Let me scroll down a little bit. All right. The Gospel according to Mary Magdalene, chapter 4. It says it starts at verse 22. Will matter be destroyed or not? The Savior said, all nature, all formations, all creatures exist in and with one another, and they will be resolved again into their own roots. For the nature of matter is resolved into the roots of its own nature alone. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Peter said to him, since you have explained everything to us, tell us this. What is the sin of the world? The Savior said, there is no sin, but it is you who make sin when you do the things that are like the nature of adultery, which is called sin. That is why the good came into your midst, to the essence of every nature in order to restore it to its root. Is this just a Plato fanfic?
I know, that's what it feels like 100%. It doesn't read like anything else in the.
It sounds like a religious major just like read Plato and got his mind blown and just decided to like write like a Ben-Hur-esque fan fiction.
Yeah, I think a big thing is where it's like all creatures exist in and with one another.
Like Jesus wouldn't say this.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like anything.
This isn't what Jesus said. All right, let's keep going. It's already bad. Here we go. All right, where I stop. Then he continued and said, that is why you become sick and die, for you are deprived of the one who can heal you. He who has a mind to understand, let him understand. Matter gave birth to a passion that has no equal, which proceeded from something contrary to nature. Then arises a disturbance in its whole body.
Yeah, so I think that's a good place to talk about it, because that's like a big part of it is hatred of the body. It's like, yeah, matter is like it's like bad, basically, like a fundamental level.
Yeah, I disagree with this one, Chief. This just doesn't seem right to me. This just doesn't seem like something Jesus would say. Like matter, like I don't even think Jesus even like discusses anything related to matter.
Yeah, like when is
like in the Bible, he doesn't say anything pertaining to this. Like this is just so like I don't know where you get this from. There's a reason why there are some things called canonical and non-canonical books. The Book of Enoch is one of them. There will be proddies in the chat, but sorry, I gotta put some supremacy in here. There's some proddies that talk about how great the Book of Enoch is and how prophetic it is. It talks about the Book of Giants that like gets cut out of the Bible, where it just says Genesis 6, that mentions the existence of the Nephilim and these like fallen angel creatures. But what they don't tell you is that the book does not line up canonically with the rest of Genesis, because it has Noah being alive at a time that he shouldn't be alive. If we are going to be looking into the records that Genesis states, like Enoch was dead long before, or actually he doesn't die. He walked with God until he was no more. But Enoch was not alive at the same time as Noah. Canon book is not canon. That is why it's not allowed. It's not because the Catholic Church has a monopoly on angel bodies or some other crackpot theory that some no-name author like Steve Quayle, who I've actually read, by the way, because I don't know, I'm just like that. I'm just built different, and I read these wacky people.
It's just the Zumermensch, just built different.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I mean, Steve, very interesting person. All he does is make predictions, and they're just wrong. Like every year, he makes a prediction that FEMA's going to come and massacre the entire population of the United States, and that Bill Clinton is just going to come into your house and slit your throat. It's kind of interesting.
What?
Part of me.
Wait, what is this? What is this?
Oh, he's one of these Steve Quayle. He's one of these Genesis 6 guys. And he's he's not related to Coast AM, which is the paranormal stuff. But if you do a quick Google search on Steve Quayle, you can get linked to his website. That's the first link that comes up, and it looks like a website straight out of 2005. It has gold stuff where he tries to get people to buy precious metals. He has a streaming broadcast event. Globalists to initiate tribulations, a streaming broadcast event, June 11th to 12th, 2021. He has an ad on his website for secure satellite phones, night vision goggles, and freeze-dried food like prepper stuff.
Oh yeah, this is insane.
Yeah, these people live in I want to live like these people. These people live in a schizo reality.
They live in a hyper reality that I can't even access with my.
Yeah, this website reads I guess people talk about what's his name, Terry Davis. They talk about him like he's a schizo. This is legit schizo. We already know it's a known fact that CIA do glow in the dark, and you can see them when you drive. But this stuff is survival 401k. Take control of your IRA/401k today with no tax penalties. This just reads like a backcountry sign, like an ad sign, like a billboard. That's what this
one of those
like.
random towns where there's 10 residents and at least 5 of them.
Oh, he has his books.
Insane.
Oh my goodness! Oh, there's the one I read, Empire Beneath the Ice. I have a physical copy of this book. It's basically Hyperborea, the book. He basically talks about how the Nazis went to Antarctica and they made a compact with Satan and extra dimensional UFOs to come back and take over the planet at some point.
What? I've actually heard that before, though. I've definitely heard they believe some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, not as crazy as some of the stuff that Blake believes, but we'll get to that eventually.
Another time. Back to the Gnosticism.
And back to this. Yes, that's going to be a trademark here. My tangents, my talent for tangents knows no bounds.
Long digressions.
Yeah, we gotta fill up the time, dude.
They're necessary. These tangents are necessary. We need to get the word out. I'm spreading the gospel of Yankee-Dixan.
Truly, it was one of the apocryphal books. Just never made it in.
Honestly, they just didn't like it. They just didn't know me. All right,
didn't know your struggle.
Verse 30. All right, 31. All right, here we go. That is why I said to you, be of good courage, and if you are discouraged, be encouraged in the presence of the different forms of nature. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. When the Blessed One has said this, he greeted them all, saying, Peace be with you. Receive my peace unto yourselves. Beware that no one lead you astray, saying, Lo here or lo there, for the Son of Man is within you. Follow after him. Those who seek him will find him. Go then and preach the gospel of the kingdom. Do not lay down any rules beyond what I appointed you. And do not give a law like the lawgiver, lest you be constrained by it. When he said this, he departed.
Opinion on chapter 4.
Again, I think this reads like an out of season Plato fan fiction. This doesn't sound like Jesus at all. Doesn't read like a gospel at all. Like, I think if you go into most gospels from the big four, you'll see a pretty uniform pattern in how Christ speaks. And even if you like, it differs from translation to translation. If you like do an NIV or a KJV or a Douay Rheims, you still get like the same message and the same sort of dialect comes out, and you can form that. This does not sound like him at all. Like,
There's no discussion
like
of like nature and stuff.
yeah, God, like Jesus never discusses like human nature at his heart. He's more concerned about like giving people lessons to live by and trying to like give parables to people. Like,
Or
there's
like
no parables
or
here.
like explicitly like religious messages too, not like weird, not like metaphysical arguments.
Yeah, it's just like Jesus was not a metaphysician. Like, in a way, you could argue that he was, but I think that just kind of goes contrary to the whole point of God the Son, is that it's above metaphysics even. And it's the way I always describe to people how God exists. Like, people like r slash will come up and be like, oh, does God exist? And I'll just say, no, he's above existence. He wills existence. That's the way you have to attack it.
Every
It's
good
above it.
Christian doesn't believe that God exists.
Exactly.
Heard it
You
here
have to,
first,
like,
folks.
Yep.
Exactly. You have to escape the box that they ensnare you in. They put you in a box when they say that, and
Or
and
maybe
you
it
have to
just
escape that
doesn't
box.
just exist. Better said.
Or Og, what do you think? Where it's like a different telling of the kingdom of God is within you, where he says the Son of Man is within you. Do you think that's just like a taken from one of the other ones, or do you think that's more Gnostic in nature?
Wait. What are you talking about again? Is this
Verse 34. Beware that no one lead you astray, saying, "Lo here, lo there," for the Son of Man is within you.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I think that's like maybe even like a divine, like a not a divine, a like on purpose parody of what was going on in like the actual canonical gospels, because like a lot of these have been like traced to have been written like 100 or like 200 years after the actual life of Jesus Christ. Oh, we know that a lot of the canonical gospels were written earlier, so it might have just been like a parody or response.
Dang.
Like an abridged series. It's like the abridged version of the Bible.
Literally. It's the like fan fiction part of it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like how
almost.
in Yet Another Ava abridged, and Shinji, instead of listening to Depeche Mode, listens to Dave Matthews. That's the equivalent.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like. I doubt. What I doubt is that the actual like authenticity about like the Gnostic Gospels, basically.
I
Like
kind
you
of doubt
guys.
that it was Mary Magdalene, but it definitely has a lot of parallels with the actual Gospels, though, to where it definitely
Yeah.
feels like it was around the same time period.
Oh yeah, it's like 100 years after.
Mm-hmm. Or I've
It's
heard
like
some
it's
other people
probably
put
like
estimates to a lot closer to the actual time period.
yeah, it's like maybe a generation after like the apostles died.
Yeah, because that feels like a direct like parody or reference to the actual phrase.
I don't know about parody because I don't think they're making fun of it, but it's definitely like
It's definitely a
I don't
reference.
know. It feels like it's something. It feels like bonus material. That's probably because we're super biased about it, but I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. Because I don't even think that's like against any of the original message though, like Christ dwelling within people.
It's just a very interesting translation that comes out to.
It's not like it's not God. It's literally the Son of Man, i.e., like the literal Jesus dwells within you. Maybe I don't know. I don't know enough about theology or whatever to know if that's like licit or not.
Bro, I just want to know why Earthbound was so weird. That's why we're reading this.
All right.
All right, now we're on chapter 5.
Go, 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 go.
All right. But they were grieved. They wept greatly, saying, how shall we go to the Gentiles and preach the gospel of the kingdom of the Son of Man? If they did not spare him, how will they spare us? Then Mary stood up, greeted them all, and said to her brethren, do not weep and do not grieve, nor be irresolute, for his grace will be entirely with you and will protect you. But rather, he has prepared us and made us into men. When Mary said this, she turned their hearts to the good. They began to discuss the words of the Savior. Peter said to Mary, sister, we know that the Savior loved you more than the rest of the women. Oh, okay. That's a take.
That's a very hot take.
That's a hot take.
Or where she turns their hearts to the good. Like, what? That just seems so whack. It definitely reads like a weird. I know we've said it like a billion times, but it definitely reads like a weird.
But it does. It's not wrong to say it if it's true. It's just this is
no.
This is what you're giving me right now. Are you?
Because I'm on the passage that you're at right now, and it just gets better.
Oh so yeah.
Like the next 3 or 4 lines.
I know what's coming. I chose this for a reason. I know what's coming.
It's 11:45 at night. Let's keep going. Tell us the words of the Savior, which you remember, which you know, but we do not, nor have we heard them. Mary answered and said, what is hidden from you, I will proclaim to you. She began to speak to them these words. She said, I saw the Lord in a vision. I saw you today in a vision. And he answered and said to me, blessed are you that you did not waver at the sight of me. For where the mind is, there is the treasure. I said to him, Lord, how does he who sees the vision see it? Through the soul or through the spirit? The Savior answered and said, he does not see through the soul nor through the spirit, but the mind that is between the two, that what sees the vision, and it is.
I know what I'm missing.
Oh, pages 11 and 14 are missing from the manuscript. Are you kidding me right now?
It literally ends on a cliffhanger, but there's no way to understand what they were actually going to say.
Oh no, this is. What did I just read?
No, it keeps going. So,
you don't have to hold back, Yankee. I can. All
right, this is.
I can censor it out.
When am I seeing this? This is bullshit, bro. I'm gonna drink of water.
Just keep going.
You give me an explanation for this. I can't come up with an explanation for this.
Oh, don't worry. It gets. You know how it gets better if you've read ahead.
Better. Yeah. I don't read ahead. I don't spoil.
Oh, it gets way better.
I spoil anime.
I'm on I'm actually on the Wikipedia page, and it's giving me what most people interpret it to mean, which is even more of a hot take.
All right, now I'll visit that after this. Let's keep going. All right, chapter 8 starts with just ... it, period. Great job, translator. We got it down. All right.
Did they even have punctuation at the time?
Do they? Do the Romans have punctuation?
I think so.
Yeah, or whatever language this was written in. I'm gonna guess it was probably Greek.
Greek or Aramaic. No, wait. They said it was Coptic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a 5th century. It was a 5th century rag that they found it on, full of holes.
Maybe because someone got so angry that they just started stepping on it, like I'm about to do. I'm surprised. They should have burnt the rug. Would make great firewood.
Read.
All right, here we go. And Desire said, what? And Desire said, I did not see you descending, but now I see you ascending. Why do you lie, since you belong to me? The soul answered and said, I saw you. You did not see me nor recognize me. I served you as a garment, and you did not know me. When it said this, it, parentheses, the soul, end parentheses, went away rejoicing greatly. What the fuck?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like a cosmology or a mythology of the Gnostic cosmology told.
People can't see this, but my head is
by Mary Magdalene to the apostles, because she's revealing esoteric knowledge that was given
only to her
by Jesus that the apostles didn't know.
So pillow talk. What I'm hearing is the biblical interpretation of pillow talk.
That's probably the interpretation, though.
I don't know. Maybe. It's never implied.
All right, I'm gonna keep going. This is just making me more and more mad. All right. And it came to the third power, which is called ignorance. The power questioned the soul, saying, "Where are you going? In wickedness are you bound? But you are bound, do not judge." And the soul said, "Why do you judge me, although I have not judged? I was bound, though I have not bound. I was not recognized, but I have recognized that the all is being dissolved, and the heavenly." When the soul had overcome the third power, it went upwards and saw the fourth power, which took 7 forms. The first form is darkness, the second desire, the third ignorance, the fourth is the excitement of death, the fifth is the kingdom of the flesh, the sixth is the foolish wisdom of flesh, the seventh is the wrathful wisdom. These are the 7 powers. They asked the soul, "Whence do you come, slayer of men? Or where are you going, conqueror of space?" The soul answered and said, "What binds me has been slain, and what turns me about has been overcome. My desire has been ended, and ignorance has died. In an aeon I was released from a world, and in a type from a type, and from the fetter of oblivion, which is transient. From this time I attained to the rest of time, of the season of the aeon in silence."
Okay.
What did I just read?
Gnosticism.
It reads like
Give me
a
a cigarette.
like somebody's Twitter bio who's really into Gnosticism. Take 20 to the end of the chapter. That could totally be somebody's Twitter bio.
This reads like a death metal album. This reads like death metal lyrics. Like there's this song.
That means that death metal is Gnostic.
Death metal's
See,
Gnostic.
It
I don't
could
know if you
be.
want to say that.
Can't listen to it anymore.
There's a band called Death, and they literally have a song called "The Flesh and the Power It Holds." I'll read the lyrics, and you can decide for yourself if it's Gnostic.
It's like the one meme from Sonic where Knuckles is like meme approved. It's like Gnosticism approved.
All right. It's not. All right, here we go. Let me just read it. I won't do the scream. I'll run the scream of me just going, I won't do that for a solid 5 minutes. I told you once, but I will say it again. When you live the flesh, it's the beginning of the end. It will take you in. It will spit you out. Behold the flesh and the power it holds. Passion is a poison laced with pleasure, bittersweet, one of many faces that hides deep beneath. It will take you in. It will spit you out. Behold the flesh and the power it holds. Touch, taste, breathe, consult.
Definitely not.
Definitely Gnostic. 100% Gnostic.
All right. Oh, you're gonna love the next part. Deja vu. Already knew from the first encounter, but now I know to let go of words to speak no more. Like a wind upon your face, you can't see it, but you know it's there. When beauty shows its ugly face, just be prepared. And those are all the original lyrics. It's all the same.
Dang, I don't know.
Yeah, how does that make? Yeah.
It has the same vibe for sure.
It does.
It's
Steven,
like 7 minutes long.
I feel like you're gonna really love chapter 9.
Oh,
So
is
just finish it out.
God tier.
All right, here we go. All right, 10 verses. I gotta like get ready for this. I gotta brace myself.
Gotta pray beforehand.
By Allah. By Allah, someone stop this. When Mary had said this, she fell silent. Savior had spoken with her. But Andrew answered and said to the brethren, "Say what you wish to say about what she has said. I at least do not believe that the Savior said this, for certainly these teachings are strange ideas." I agree wholeheartedly, Andrew. These do seem very strange. Peter answered and spoke concerning these same things. He questioned them about the Savior. Did he and not openly to us? We would turn about and all listen to her. Did he prefer her to us? Then Mary wept and said to Peter, "My brother Peter, what do you think? Do you think that I have thought this up myself in my heart, or that I am lying about the Savior?" Levi answered and said to Peter, "Peter, you have always been hot-tempered."
Levi the simp.
"Now I see you contending against a woman like the adversaries, but if the Savior made her worthy, who are you indeed to reject her? Surely the Savior knows her very well. That is why he loved her more than us. Rather let us be ashamed and put on the perfect man and separate as he commanded us and preach the gospel, not laying down any other rule or other law beyond what this. And when they heard this, they began to go forth to proclaim and to preach the gospel of Mary.
Dang. They literally checked
Yeah,
their
dude.
biases in the last
Yeah,
chapter.
that's some destroying the patriarchy shit right there.
Oh yeah,
Hell yeah, brother.
Mary Magdalene, the OG feminist.
Honestly, now
Yeah,
we can
no.
trace the roots of feminism. This is
According
one
to the
discussion.
according to the comments in the Wikipedia thing, their Peter's and Andrew's outburst is meant to demonstrate the fact that they do not know, like they are ignorant about the Savior, basically.
Oh, so is this trying to like destroy the church? This is honestly like making me more angry because it's by attacking Peter, it's attacking the church in which Christ built. So it's a direct attack on Catholicism.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm kind of mad.
Well,
I'm kind of upset.
when this was written, that was like the only thing that existed, though. It's more like just an attack on Christianity in general,
Yeah, this
or a
is attack. This is
subversion
like
of it.
literally. Yeah, this is literally like subversion. Like people, like if you go on any wacky Twitter thread or 4chan forum, they talk about subversion, the subversion. I'm like, this is real subversion, not this
Yeah, dude.
fake protocols or whatever. This is real.
This is real
This
stuff.
has been around for 2,000 years, almost 2,000 years.
Yeah. So I mean, do we want to go into the
You can already
actual?
see like the trends and stuff, like of liberation from physical reality, liberation from like a lot of like the ethical and religious customs that were present at the time about women, about like sanctity and chastity. If we're implying that Mary Magdalene did in fact have relations with like the Savior, it would have implied a lot of things with like at least sexual ethics that would be totally contrary to what we believe nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Or I mean, it would be pretty in line with with at least modern beliefs. Not really
Yeah.
ancient Christian ones, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I'm starting to think that maybe this isn't directly stated, but I'm pretty sure these people would be like pro-nudist.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, they'd be
I
like
don't know.
pro. They'd be like a nudist colony out in the middle
Actually,
of
wait.
nowhere.
Actually, no. I'm actually not sure about
No.
that.
They were super anti-sex because they thought it was like the markers of physicality and of the material.
But wouldn't clothes even be more material?
I guess they're covering up
No.
like the body is seen as like evil, so they're like covering it up, I guess.
Yeah, no. There was like there was a lot of them who refused to eat because it's like disgusting material needs. And they thought the same thing of sex.
But they had the same way about using the bathroom.
Probably.
Material need. Oh my.
That's why they didn't really feel comfortable with Jesus becoming a man, or at least I knew some of them didn't. Like I know that like a lot of Muslims will frame it as like, oh, you believe like God, the creator of the entirety of reality, slithered through like a fallopian tube or something like that, because that's how they see it. That's how they see like the process of birth. They see it as like something disgusting and material and base.
Yeah, or like
these people are. This is like
Bad
very antinatalist. This is like proto antinatalism in a nutshell.
kind of yeah, it does kind of feel like
Yeah.
it. Especially because it's super pro mind. It's like, oh yeah, your soul or like your body. Now you got to use your big Plato brain to understand all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all had very
I
high
also-
IQs, I bet.
I think, although I'm not sure this is the case, that somewhere in like the Gnostic text, they directly parody a concept of heaven that the early Christians had, like the seven levels or the seven rings of heaven. Like I think that's also parodied here as like the seven evils of wrath or something.
Or 8, 9, yeah,
Seven
8,
cor-
19.
the seven like restrictions on the soul, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they thought that the heaven promised by like the demiurge, which is like the Old Testament God, was actually like a form of hell. Because you just end up trapped in like material reality forever,
I
basically.
mean, we never even explained who the demiurge is. We got to go like way back. We got to talk about Abraxas, dude. Yankee, have
We
you ever
should
heard of
have done this at the
Abraxas?
very beginning.
Yankee, you ever heard of Abraxas?
What about Yaldabaoth?
Abraxas. Was he mentioned? And is this like a Neoplatonist name, or is this a Platon? Is this even further back?
This is a Gnostic thing.
Yeah, this is like foreign to me. I have not done any Gnostic stuff. Like, I have not touched anything in terms of like, there's like a gap in my philosophical understanding. I've gotten up to like Aristotle, and I just sort of stopped.
So the
Like,
gap
I was
is
in high
like the rest
school.
of it, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, like I
Okay.
started in high school. I was reading, like, I read Plato my junior year, and I've somewhat forgotten it. I feel terrible, and I need to go read it again. I started Aristotle my senior year, reading Oswald Spengler's Decline of the West for a solid 5 months, and I thought I was a super based Ubermensch who understood that the world was going to fall apart.
That's like
But we
step
were all
one.
young once, and that's step one of my understanding. Then I sort of, and I was still very politically like aware back then, or in the wrong sense of politically aware. Like, I paid attention to politics, and now I just, which life lesson, everyone, just don't pay attention unless it affects you or your family. You'll feel a lot better that way. You won't like obsess over it. You won't become a schizo like I
Unplug.
was in high school. Just unplug from the matrix, bro.
The Matrix is also Gnostic too.
Of course it is.
In like a very
Yeah, it's all
literal
about like
sense. Like the Matrix is literally what the physical world is supposed to be, right?
a present false deceptive reality that serves you to keep you asleep and enslaved.
Yeah, and in that case, it's like literal because they're just using their bodies for like
Made by
batteries.
yeah, made by a faulty or evil god, who in the Matrix series is literally named Deus Ex Machina.
That's so, yeah, that's so subtle. It's very subtle.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right,
Abraxas.
are we? Yeah,
Also,
we gotta talk about
yeah.
the. Yeah, we're talking about Abraxas. Let's go back.
Okay. So Abraxas is base. It's like a name for a god that was floating around in like the Near East for a long time, and it kind of got appended onto the Gnostic theology after it had been out for a while, basically. But it's essentially the name for the primary unitary true God, who's essentially just all of reality with no divisions. Which is like goodness, basically.
It's like referenced in the Mary
Uh,
Magdalene text. There was some stuff in there about
is he?
divisions.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
looking
yeah,
at it
yeah.
right now. This is interesting. Yeah, so just so everyone knows, Gnosticism has a fandom wiki. Just so everyone knows, they got a fandom. They're on like the same level as like Attack on Titan. This is great. Keep
They're
going. Like a video game franchise. Keep
Homestuck.
going. Yeah, you know a bit about that. Is Homestuck? Well,
no, you cut out there,
Hello.
Yankee.
Sorry, I
is
think
that?
you got out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Og. Would you consider a Homestuck being Gnostic?
Oh, incredibly. Like reading that has been like a little pet project I've been having going on the side. Pretty close to finishing it
Project.
actually.
Pet
Um,
project. Let's just admit it. You just want to read Homestuck.
no, that's not true. I actually started only reading it after I saw the Gnostic connections, because it also connects back to like it also has like a huge influence on like just general popular culture, and that's the reason why I wanted to like learn about Gnosticism in the first place. So I kept seeing it crop up everywhere.
All right, let me read this about
Anybody who
summary
voluntarily
Abraxas.
reads Homestuck for the reasons that it wants you to read it is a degenerate.
Yeah, let me keep doing this. Abraxas is a mystical word, probably of Gnostic or Kabbalistic origins, which conveys geometrically the number 365 and is connected with the solar cycle. The word is also associated with the highest Gnostic deity, the name of a demon in occultism. Interesting summary. History.
So, did you
You
want
have the
to continue?
Gnos.
Yep.
Because there's like a whole story that leads to the terrible physical world we're in right now.
Yeah, like we're basically. This is basically like a summary of like the cosmology, right? Or like the story. So the story is like in the beginning there was Abraxas, and Abraxas was like just all of reality. He was chilling out. He decided that it was boring and that things should develop actually, and so he cast out like a series of emanations from himself called aeons, and the aeons were basically in charge of like developing or like creating in a sense, like or developing like the world, or it wasn't really a world, but like just reality in general. And it always came in male and female pairs. And eventually there was an Aeon named Sophia that got away from her like partner Aeon and out of the sight of Abraxas somehow, and fashioned or created her own her own creature basically. And this is the figure of the demiurge, which literally just means craftsman in Greek, but people call him that because of what he's going to do. So Sophia gives birth to or creates or whatever the demiurge. The demiurge wakes up or like gets up and looks around and sees nothing because he is a flawed creation by an Aeon because she didn't make it with her partner Aeon. Sophia made the demiurge by itself and therefore it's flawed, and it couldn't see like the light, the divine light being cast by Abraxas, and so it decides to create something itself. And depending on like the telling of the text, the demiurge is either explicitly evil or just like incompetent, or both actually. So it depends on how you want to interpret the story. But point of the story is that he ends up creating like the material world, the one that we're all like that we all know, and all of the previous all of the divine sparks, like the souls that existed previously, are entrapped in the material world.
Yeah, aren't we all
Through like
technically pieces of
lines.
Abraxas, right? In
Yes.
cosmology.
Yeah. Although a different, I don't know. Again, there's another difference, or I might be just getting it wrong since I'm saying this all from memory. Either that like the souls existed prior to creation, or the demiurge created like material creatures that were so wretched and pitiful that Sophia took mercy on them and imbued them with pieces of Abraxas's light, and came down to dwell with us is in order to give us like a chance to get back to Abraxas, and she takes the form of wisdom. That's how you make it closer to Abraxas. Sophia in Greek is also literally just the word for wisdom.
Or gnosis. Gnosticism is to know. So
Yeah, Nasa. No, yeah, it's all a process of basically reaching Abraxas and like transcending your earthly demiurgic cages known as bodies, with the help of Sophia.
Can you go contextually at this idea of like hating your body or hating material and just giving up and like not eating? I think we mentioned before that it did some trends from the East aside from Zoroastrianism. It is very Buddhist and this sort of like, oh yeah, the material world is suffering. You gotta just get out and
Mm-hmm.
transcend to a higher plane. And I'm looking at the picture that they use for Abraxas. I suggest you all go to the fandom and look at pictures of it because it looks like a stereotypical like fat hook nose king with snakes for feet.
What?
That is Abraxas that is being shown here. Is like the big like if you look up Abraxas, go on the wiki,
Oh
on the
yeah, no, you're right.
Demopedia. Yeah, it looks like a stereotypical cartoon of I don't want to get canceled here, but of a certain ethnic tribe that people don't like, that certain groups don't like. That's what
Yeah,
it
no.
resembles.
I think that's like a modern one. The
It
actual
has to be
etching, the
because
actual
that just
etching
looks
for
like an
Abraxas.
anti-Semitic drawing.
Yeah, and like the actual canonical interpretation of Abraxas is like a man with snakes for legs and like a rooster's head with a whip
That's a
and
weird
shield.
rooster's head. That just looks like
Yeah, cock's head.
or the demiurge is normally, isn't it, like a lion with a
it's
snake
a
body?
lion with like a snake body.
Yeah, it's not. I don't actually know if it's a snake. It's supposed to be a worm to emphasize its like pathetic and useless nature.
Dang. Bro, the
Also,
Demiurge is the only one out here being hustling, dude. He's the only one out here actually making anything.
For the people who haven't caught on yet, the Demiurge is supposed to be the Old Testament God. The story of Genesis is the story of the Demiurge.
Yeah. Or do we want to get into the world egg symbolism now? So I feel like that connects really well
Yeah.
to the Genesis story.
Yeah, you want to handle
Yeah.
Yeah, actually. Basically the world, like the physical world, is the egg, and like breaking out of it, you can only do through through knowledge, like gnosis, like learning the secret truth and stuff. And there's also like a big emphasis on like magic. It's like the way you gain salvation is through like knowledge and then like magic, like basically spells and stuff to save you.
Yep.
And so when you break
Very
out of the world egg, you go back to Abraxas, and you get to leave this stupid material world behind.
heavily connected to the occult and the satanic. In the Gnostic retelling of the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve are oppressed by the horrific tyrant that is the Demiurge, who tells them not to eat from the tree of knowledge, which would be their only means of escape from his grasp. And so the serpent frees them by tricking Eve, and is cursed by the cruel and vindictive Demiurge.
So it's making the Satan a good guy.
Yeah,
Right?
no,
He's trying to help you.
100%.
And that sort of lines up with this idea of like, I mean, this comes up later in stuff like Milton, where Lucifer comes out as the bringer of light, this bringer of knowledge. So you can even see hints of it there.
Well, yeah, like because
Satan is a
in
sympathetic figure in Milton.
in this conception, like Satan and like the tree and eating from the tree of knowledge is what gives human beings free will at all. It makes them like worthwhile creatures to be alive. Whereas before they were kind of just like material automatons. They were just trapped 100% by the Demiurge's cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only way to really be
I'm
like a
just-
protagonist in like the world of the Demiurge is basically to be like a satanic figure, like storm your way into heaven by your own will, basically.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you
Luciferian.
very, very. When you say will, it comes off very Nietzschean. You have to basically just transcend using your own will.
Become
You
the
must kill the
Zumermensch.
Demiurge. You must kill God. You must kill God and become an Uber Zumermensch.
Yeah, or yeah, like killing God. Isn't
Yeah.
isn't killing
Like in
God
this
like a
case,
big trope?
rationalism would be like the most Gnostic thing on the planet. It's like, oh, we've surpassed the use for God. We've done it. We've escaped his grasp. Now we are truly free beings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other important like Gnostic concepts or like stories before we dive into the effects that it's had in like modern discourse.
I mean, I want to talk a little bit about like just comparing it to Hebrew cosmology, like the world egg and that sort of symbolism. I'm trying to see how that lines up with the Hebrew conception of the world.
Well,
Because
it contradicts it completely. It's like, oh, he makes the world and the world is good. In Gnosticism, like the world is made and the world's like a cage. It's like keeping us
not even
trapped.
that. Like, and actually, when you cage, it kind of brings back like, especially, I'm not just talking about like the essence of the world that is described in Genesis. I'm talking about the physical, like, geographic nature of it, where you have Sheol, which is this bottom depth that exists beneath the earth. You have the firmament, which in a way acts, if you look at it from a Gnostic perspective, acts as a between the waters of heaven and the waters of the earth, with the windows of heaven being the openings between the two, and then they rest upon the pillars, and then upon the pillars of the earth, where creatures such as the Leviathan and like the Chaos Dragon live. Chaos Dragon, you want a Peterson reference? There you go, Chaos Dragon.
Slay the dragon. Do your homework. Slay the dragon. Yeah, I can see that.
There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in Hebrew cosmology too, like Adam Kedem, like Kedemon or Kedemon, something like that. But that is a story for another time, I think. Basically, I think like the main gist of Gnosticism is that like the world that you see around you, the immanent world, is like pure evil, and that the spiritual world beyond it is pure good. And it is your task to like break out of this cage or this binding set upon you by an almost all-powerful tyrant. This gradually evolves to like removing the whole personal or like maybe impersonal figure of like the good god with just yourself. So it becomes like interbred with modernistic like individual immanent philosophies to the point where we have like this weird thematic combination of like there's like an almost all powerful personal god, who's evil or incompetent and sets like all these bindings upon you. They're like the bindings of reality, and you have to try and like defeat or surpass him through your own abilities.
And friendship.
Yeah, through your own abilities, or like through like what makes people human, or like basically like through immanent concepts. You explicitly do not pray or seek the help of an even greater force, metaphysically, to defeat the creature.
Yeah, like to use Earthbend as an example, when Paul is praying, it's revealed at the end, that it's like the combined psyche of the human population. It's not actually any kind of god or anything that Paul is praying to.
Yeah.
So yeah, do we want to jump
Stuff
into
like
how
that.
it's affect like
I
modern
mean,
stuff?
the theme pops up in almost every big like Japanese story. Specifically, like if you ever like played a JRPG, you've played like a Gnostic game, Final Fantasy,
Persona?
Persona 5, spoilers. Um, what else? Pokemon, even Pokemon especially. Actually,
How is Pokemon Gnostic?
you capture the demiurge in a tiny ball.
Pikachu's the demiurge, dude. I always knew it.
Yeah, no.
He was always
Pog
creeping me
face.
out.
You can't see it right now, but I'm just pogging.
A
It's
lot of people say that Dark Souls is very Gnostic as well.
I think there's like explicit references to like Sophia and stuff in there, right?
Yeah, yeah, and like the modern or like the Christian church is explicitly like a servant, basically explicitly a servant of like the bad guys, the bad evil god, and the witch that travels with them taps into like the life force of the planet, which is like the good force that fights against it or something. So Berserk, Gnostic as well. A lot of animes have this. I'm trying to think of like modern Western stories. Ooh, The Golden Compass, His Dark Materials, explicitly Gnostic.
Yeah, don't they kill God, but God's actually like a fake like fallen angel, pretty much.
God, okay, in like in the story, it's revealed that like what people like there's like the church, and the church is like the actual bad guys, like they're the evil organization that is the antagonist for everybody else, and they worship a god. I'm not kidding you, simply called the Authority. They
All
worship
right, now we're just
authority.
in Now we're just in like WWE territory where it's just like, oh yeah, I worship Stephanie McMahon and Triple H.
Yeah,
That's
I
all it's
worship
like.
the
Oh,
authority.
I worship the game.
yeah, dude. It's like they worship the Authority, and it's like there's like this life force, or like basically like the force that exists in in the universe, or like the multiverse technically, that yeah, that I what's it called, yeah, that like gives like their powers basically, and like ties their souls together to their animals. A whole different story. But basically, the Authority is just the first guy or the first living creature to come out of this dust, this like mystical force. It's not a creator. It's not anything really. It's just the first and technically most powerful creation. And then, since it sees nothing else around it, it decides to call itself God and make stuff out of the dust. And by the time you reach the end of the story, he's like old, decrepit, incarcerated, and like senile. And like a main character who's a woman, puts him down with like a dagger,
Dang.
basically.
Kills God.
Yeah.
Kills God.
I don't think he even gets any lines, or if he does, it's like really short and anticlimactic because he's supposed to be a pathetic figure.
Yeah, like the worm instead of like snake body for the demiurge.
Basically.
Would we put Eva, even Neon Genesis, in the Gnostic category, or is that just like
That's just
misinformed
whack. That's
Japanese
just schizo.
existentialism? Yeah, it's just misinformed Japanese Schopenhauer readings.
Basically.
It's like Hideaki Anno just read like random excerpts of Schopenhauer's notebook, and it's just like, the hedgehog dilemma. This makes sense now.
I played Sonic. I
I'll
understand.
Sonic might be Gnostic. I don't know.
Oh, 100%.
Any game, any story where the main characters defeat a godlike figure who's also explicitly said to be like a creator or some kind of supreme being is Gnostic.
So yeah,
You heard it here first, folks.
it's everywhere.
Yeah, we also have to address the elephant in the room that we talked about before, in that the just cape shit.
Yeah, there's literally the demiurge.
Yeah, we got.
There's the God Forge in the Marvel or DC universe. I can't remember which one it is.
More explicitly than that, in the DC universe, the Old Testament God Lucifer and Michael the Archangel all exist. It's just that there's basically super powerful comic book heroes or entities, and it's explicitly stated like the presence, quote unquote, which is like God, the biblical God, is not the most powerful thing. He essentially had to have every other like universe or story within it or something.
Dang. So yeah, everything is not.
Mhm.
There's no entertainment that's safe.
Yeah, just give up. Just give up. Just
read Lord of the
just have to
Rings.
resign yourself to. Yeah, honestly, just read Lord of the Rings.
That's the.
God wins.
That's like a non-Gnostic story.
Moral of the story: don't let your kids watch a Marvel movie.
Don't
That should be the moral of the story of any story.
cancel Disney Plus. That's the real story.
I'm trying to think of other ones.
So many people just it's just
Also,
like, are really into Disney Plus. It's kind of whack, to be honest.
Also,
like, I'm not being a contrarian for the sake of being contrarian.
Also huge. Digimon, Gnostic.
Digimon, dude. The digital monsters.
Digimon is Gnostic. Trying to think of other Western shows, because pretty much every Japanese thing that deals with a supreme being is Gnostic. I've seen zero evidence of any show or story existing in Japanese media that affirms like a Orthodox Christian view of God instead of the Gnostic one.
I mean, you see how like the Japanese react to the idea of Christianity. Or watch the movie.
Which movie? Silence.
Silence by.
Gonna show Silence really quick.
Honestly, yes, great movie. Absolutely great visuals. Probably one of the best movies. It's Scorsese, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the best movies Scorsese's actually directed. It's like Scorsese, mob guy, but when he needs to put up a serious film, he can do it. He's got it in him.
You could even say,
he shows him.
Because just thinking about that on the whole Japanese thing, like you can even say that like retroactively, technically, that Buddhism is Gnostic, because there's that famous quote of the Buddha talking about the gods, right? He's like, I don't know whether or not the gods exist, or I think he might have even affirmed that they do exist. But he said, if they do, then they also need the Buddha's teachings. And I think that's the explicit view, the Japanese view of like the Christian God, basically.
Yeah, because they also can't envision anything transcendent.
Yeah, I mean, they also, like, if we're going back through their mythology, they do believe that they're a king, the emperor, is descended from like the sun god. Like the emperor is like proto demigod.
Yeah, that's more the
But
Shintoism talking.
they definitely. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like other ways that Gnosticism has influenced stuff. Mostly like emphasis on the will. Docs, you want to talk about that?
I don't know. I was just thinking Xenoblade Chronicles is also you like end up killing God in the end. So
Oh yeah, no, definitely. God is also just a scientist from the previous universe who created the present universe so that he wouldn't have to be alone and he could pump up his self-esteem.
Wow, Mr. Rick, very Rick and Morty-esque. We're just gonna keep shooting references out here. It's like the one Rick and Morty. I hate bringing up Rick and Morty, but yeah, Rick and Morty. There's that one episode where it's just the multiple realities that his created to like power his spaceship. So like they like Rick comes down as basically just like a god to them, but the people in his little reactor that he uses to power his spaceship, they've also created a hyper reality where they are basically the gods of that world.
yeah, it's
So
basically
it's just
that.
like a yeah.
Yep. Lots of different takes on the Demiurge story. Um, there are ones where like they lean more towards him being evil. Other ones where like they lean towards him being just incompetent or kind of just dismissive. I guess the Rick interpretation leans on like the dismissive side, while um, while stories like Homestuck, Persona 5, and like a couple other of the Japanese ones like make him explicitly evil, like evil. Like he did this in order to be worshipped, basically out of ego.
Yeah, or I think H.P. Lovecraft goes more towards the dismissive side. They like make humanity like as a joke essentially, or by accident.
Yeah, no, that's worth saying about H.P. Lovecraft because all the gods.
Yeah, pretty much all the gods are evil in H.P. Lovecraft. Yeah, you're like phasing out of reality.
You
The
are just
demiurge
on
is
another
preventing
plane.
you from speaking to us.
Well, he's gone. He's gotten eaten by the demiurge
The demiurge
itself.
just swallowed him up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I dropped the call there for some reason. Just
You
disconnecting.
did. The demiurge is trying to kill us. He's trying to like eat us alive.
Yeah, dude. No, his servants, the Archons, are trying to mess with us. Reptile people.
So like Mark Zuckerberg would be an archon, for example, in our universe.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's worth saying. This is actually a good point worth talking about that all of the demiurge's creations and even the demiurge himself to an extent um are purely immanent. Like none of it is transcendent. That's why it's even possible to like beat the demiurge at his own game or whatever. Because none of these are actually like transcendent beings or concept that go beyond what could eventually be explained by like a natural scientist with 3 billion IQ and enough time.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like you can't actually ever beat like a transcendent god, right? If the god actually is trying to stop you, but you can
Yeah, the
beat just like
concept
a
of
flawed creation.
yeah, like beating a transcendent god makes no sense. It's like a category error. It's I don't even know how to like a good analogy to this. It would be like asking um how good of a play could a rock write in like 3 years. It's not they're not doing the same thing. They don't exist the same thing. It's like I don't know. It's hard to explain.
For sure.
It's like could you I don't even know. I don't even know how to explain this.
Is it like the analysis that like, oh, could God create a board that he couldn't even lift?
It's not
It's
even
the same
that.
kind of nonsense
Not
question.
even that, because that's just a stupid question that people ask to make themselves feel
I think
smart.
it's the same. It's like asking how many seconds long is a rectangle. It's just stupid. It's a nonsense question.
It's a poo poo question. Heard it here first on the Zumermensch.
Exactly.
Dang.
That's the proper response. It's like the question, how heavy could God make a rock so heavy that he couldn't lift it, is the same as asking God, hippopotamus, jump rope, tissue box, TV screen? Question mark. Like that's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like the Job where he's like, "Yo, my mere thought sustains you. Like, how are you gonna criticize me?"
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh man, I'm just going to like attack the source of pure being and goodness. It's like, no. But all of that does work if you're talking about simply an immensely powerful subjective creature or subjective force that is like manipulatable.
Yeah, because like I guess the thing I take away from like the spirit of Gnosticism is like instead of like humans needing Jesus, like Jesus needs humans, basically, or God needs
Yeah.
humans to teach him like how to be more kind or a better person.
Yeah, it's the inverse.
It's more like, I think like that God is like subject to the same rules and regulations that human beings are, even despite being the same, despite being like the nominal or like immense source of those rules, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess you could definitely get that from the Mary Magdalene
Eventually,
gospel.
like they eventually like the
Oh, you're like,
view of authority is just like, it's not as God is like the source, as metaphysically where he's the source of these things. Sorry, did I cut out?
oh, you just
Yeah,
cut
you're
out for
just
that
like,
entire thing, dude.
yeah, you just cut out during
Hello?
your entire diatribe. You're just like, I think you gotta like stay in one spot. You're like
Yeah,
just
you're like running
zooming
around.
all.
You're zooming around, dude.
You're just zooming.
Oh wow.
Like you were
Yeah, I
fine in the
know.
original place you were talking. Now you're just running around. He's about to cut out again. He is just. You're on the verge of just
Yeah.
being
Now
eaten
he's
by
running
an
around
archon.
again.
Oh, here we
Well, no,
go.
it's like I'm in like a room. And I was just pacing around the room. So maybe it's just like one. Hold on. Let me
Don't worry,
focus.
we'll cut it out. We'll edit it out.
Let me see if is it better now.
Yeah, that's way better.
I'm screwed. I'm doing all the heavy lifting
I know
here.
you're
You
the one
guys have to talk
that's
about it
talking
too.
all the time. 100%, because you know the most
Right now?
about Gnosticism.
That's it. That's the. It's the feds. They don't want us to talk about it. It's not even the archons anymore. It's the feds.
Yeah,
It's
they're all
always the
trying to
feds.
stop us for sure.
They are trying to
So
stop you.
Yankee,
They're trying to stop us.
Yankee, you came into this blind. What is your
I
whole
did come
opinion
in this.
after learning about this? Learning every single thing you liked, most likely, is
Anything,
Gnostic.
any single thing I can in like a 1 hour torture session, but uh, I mean, I'm trying to think of
Okay, can you
exactly how
guys
to
hear
put it.
me good?
Yeah, we can hear you, Og.
Like, I guess the first question we need to address is based or cringe. That's the most important question out of anything we
Oh,
discuss.
that's the verdict. I think
Uh,
we should. Yeah, I don't like those words because they're
very.
used too much now. Pog or unpog is the real question.
Yes, I think Pog, yeah, considering the original name to those listening was originally the Podcast, but we realized that that just sounded like a soy jack speaking. So we decided on a much more Chad name, just a much better name in general that people can say with pride, because it's like someone going around saying, "Oh, who says that unironically, other than like someone who lives in Soho? No one says that unironically. Like, oh yeah, me and my girlfriend, we live in New York City. We listen to Cumtown. No, no, you're gonna say I listen to Zumermensch and I hit the gym 4 times a week
Oh yeah,
and I eat
100%.
clean, and I do give up like
Bang.
500 things for Lent. Yeah, that's the type of people we're getting.
Yeah, we're
We
gonna see
don't
stuff
get
on
a
Twitter where it's just dudes like repping out a new Max, and they're just gonna be listening to Zumermensch in the background. They're just gonna hear us like
exactly.
ranting
That's the
for two
goal.
hours straight.
That's the
on
goal.
Gnosticism.
You're just gonna hear me just like losing my absolute shit.
He's gonna
over
be
some
struggling through the lift, and
verse.
he's gonna hear, "I fucking hate Gnosticism."
And you're gonna be able to do the
That's
final
the-
rep. You're gonna do it.
Ear warning here. Headphone warning. Yeah, I fucking hate Gnosticism. End quote.